Welcome to another unboxing from theplayersaid.com. I'm Grant. Today I'm unboxing a new game from Worthington Publishing called Napoleon Returns 1815. It is a strategic level game that uses blocks, limited movement points, some combat cards, and some objective cards. But it's a very basic, I think a very basic introductory war game that has some cool strategies and a lot of opportunities for maneuver on the map. I don't think there's any more than 20 or 25 pieces ever on the board at one time. So you're only going to be controlling, 6, 7, 8, 10 different formations. And really, I think a very simple game, but a game that looks very interesting. The art looks fantastic on the box. This is a brand new game. I think it came out about a month ago. Just getting around to unboxing it. So let's go ahead and take a look. Box is really snug, as you can see. When you open it up, I have noticed recently that Worthington is putting 2 sets of rules into the games, which I think is great, because then when Alexander and I are playing, I can have my copy of the rules and I don't have to worry about asking him to surrender them and hand them over. You can see the rules are not a lot. There are 8 pages in this rule book. Pretty dense text, but then they do have some good movement examples, an example of combat, and then an example of how to use the cards. So really an interesting looking game. I'll show you the components here, but you've kind of got an army. I want to say it's a board that you're going to track the different stats for your army on it, from cohesion points to movement points, etc. Fairly straightforward game. The pieces are amazing. The production value is really good. And once again, 8 pages of rules. You're going to get into this very quickly. And I think it plays, let me see, let me turn that box over, and it's actually upside down. Plays in about 2 hours, it says. So quick playing game. There's the rule book. I like quick playing war games sometimes because you can't always play 6 to 8 hours. So this is definitely a good opportunity to just get some good gaming in fairly quickly. Here are those army boards that I mentioned. There are 4 of them. There's the Allies and the Prussians. You can see 2 of those boards. And then you have 2 different French army boards that track things. And if we look closely at them, so let's go ahead and pull up closely. You can see First Corps. Here's the name of the leader. It gives its tactical rating. That's something that's obviously important to the design. And then the starting combat cards that each of them has in their hand. Here is their cohesion start. Once it gets down here, you start losing combat cards, and then once you get down to the end, you're going to lose that army. Fairly simple game, but you're gonna track those using counters, and it just helps keep you organized. This one has the Imperial Guard and then the cavalry, whereas the other 3 are infantry corps. But yeah, there's the 2 French army cards, and then you can get this is Wellington, and then this is Field Marshal Blucher. Let me just real quickly. Grant and Mike Wiley designed the game, and Mark Wiley. I don't know that I've seen much of his name on their products. Art and layout was by Sean Cook. But the game, once again, it's promoted as a fast-playing war game. And it actually says for 2 to 3 players. I noticed that on the back. I'm not sure. I guess how that would work is 1 player would be the French, 1 player would control the Prussians, Field Marshal Blucher, and then I hear a horse whinnying in the background if you understand that reference. Many of you younger ones won't. And then the Allies could be played by a 3rd player. So maybe that's what they mean by 2 to 3 player game. The system does use the rectangular formation pieces. I always like games that do that. We've played some from Command Post games, and I really enjoy those rectangular pieces. I just think they're very interesting. So let's go ahead. This is a historical game setup. And once again, there's 2 of these cards, which is really nice because it means I have one for myself while Alexander is looking at them. Here it outlines the different corps and the names of those commanders for the Allies, the French, and the Prussians. And then on the back it has the sequence of play listed here. It also has the combat cards, how they work, the combat procedure, combat cards matching chart. So you're going to get an explanation of how those work out if they match when they're played. I have not read the rules thoroughly through, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. But this is a fairly usable and helpful player aid, it appears. So let's go ahead and lay those out. And then let's get a look at the board. It is a mounted map board. I know many of you live and die with mounted map boards. I like them. I really do like them. But they add cost, as we all know. A hard mounted map board is going to cost double or triple what a paper mounted map board would be. Let's get this stuff out of the way. Actually lays pretty flat out of the box. I think that's a good sign. But it's a basic map. There's not a lot of detail. Actually, there's actually a lot of detail and relief. You can see the different trees, the streams and rivers are very, very clear. The roads are clear. And then the different cities are made clear on the map. At the top, you can see there's game turn record track, movement points remaining for the French and the Allies there on the left, turn tracks on the right. And then it says weather. So weather does play into the game kind of in this area right there, that box right there. Down at the bottom, there's a French movement point box. So obviously the Allies and the Prussians are going to be sitting on the north side of the map. I think that's the north side. And then the, north side of the map, here's the directions. And then the French player is going to be sitting on the south. So a functional map actually reminds me of the map from France 1940, or Dunkirk 1940, I'm sorry, from about 3 years ago from Worthington. Functional, mostly gray and earth tones with not a lot of details, but you know, it's a nice playing surface in it. I think it looks pretty decent. Like I mentioned, these tree reliefs, I've always enjoyed those in war games. I wish they did more of that because it just adds, I think, to the beauty and playability of the game. Let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. So we've got some yellow markers. I think these are control markers. So we'll throw those. I'm not going to open those up. I do want to open up the formations and give you a look at those. Let's pour those out into my hand. It does have a D6, fairly standard D6, nothing fancy about that. But here's a look at the different rectangle formation markers. Let's give you a close-up look one. This is the French 4th Corps. So those are very nice looking. I like, it's not embossed on there, but it, you can see that one's printed, but the R is starting to kind of wear off, and I've just opened it. So that's a little disappointing. 3rd Corps, that's clear and crisp, but that could have been a printing error. So yeah, these are pretty nice units. I like you can see Wellington there. So those are pretty nice. And remember I mentioned there's about 20 different, that's all that you got there. There's not a lot. So it is a smaller game, but I'm okay with the smaller games sometimes that I can play in an hour to 2 hours and have a good, a good experience and enjoy. Plus a Napoleonics war game is always fun. We've had a great time with the ones that we've played. I would like to play more, and this one's going to be a start to that. Sorry, the light is kind of bad. There's about 50, I want to say 50 cards here. They're they're good quality cards. Not quite a linen finish, but that's a really thick card stock. Once again, has that nice picture of Napoleon on horseback there. Really enjoy that. And then these are the different combat cards. Some of them have instructions on them. Some just have the words, like here. You can see this is one that has some instructions printed. Cavalry charge, if unmatched, increase defender combat losses by 1. You can see the cavalry, there's quite a few of those. And these are randomly dealt out to players. Here's a combined arms, matches any card played by the attacker. And once again, remember that little matrix that we were looking at there at the bottom? Combat cards matching chart. I think that that's important when you match, because I think you're going to either lessen the impact of that card or even take its ability as well. Here's a skirmish one. If unmatched, decrease defender combat losses by 1. I like games that use cards. I think they're a nice way to interject some randomness. Counterattack, automatic counterattack by defender if matched by counterattack only. And then here are those 5 objective cards I mentioned. Let me put the combat cards down. At the beginning of the game, the French player is going to draw, I think, one of these, and it's simply another way to win the game or get more victory points. You can see there's just different cities: Brussels, Antwerp, Liège, Ghent, and then this one's a little different. Destroys 3 of the 8th Corps. So that's obviously, is that the Prussian 8th Corps or Wellington's 8th Corps? I'll have to look a little bit closer. Maybe it's, yeah, I don't see that. But anyway, that's an objective there. So that's how they use cards in the design. Battle cards as well as some objective cards that I think is cool. Yeah, really nice looking game that I think could be very interesting to play. Once again, kind of a quick playing game. So we'll try to get this one played and do a review of it. But I do like the looks of it. I've seen some pictures on social media, and it does look pretty cool when the units are on the board. So there you go. Napoleon Returns 1815, new from Worthington Publishing. Check it out, and hopefully we'll be doing some content over the next couple of months on this one. We do have a nice backlog though, and there's a lot left to play. So thanks for watching. I've been Grant for the Player's Aid.